welcome in, Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Hello, I'm Billy Coppin, the Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Provost Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
Tonight, the NFL on Is it on NBC, Jason? I don't know. I don't know what
well, it's on Prime Video. Remember, they're doing Thursday night on Prime.
Is this Dallas tonight?
Yeah, Dallas and the Eagles. You coming over?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah,
come on.
We'll check. So may have to bring some Rugrats with us, but we'll come.
That's fine.
We'll
fit right in.
Yeah, I'd love to come tonight. It's Cowboys tonight. Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles.
All right, we can see what
beginning of the NFL season.
Beginning of the end of the Dallas Cowboys 2025-26 season. No, I'm going to be optimistic this year, Jason.
This one game could determine it all.
When was the last Cowboys Super Bowl? I can't remember.
Over 30 years ago.
I like that. Yeah, it's over 30. So I used to tell people for the last 20 years I've been saying this is our year. Now it's for the last 30 years I've been telling people. Has it really been that long?
I think so. I can't remember back in the – Did you get a chance to watch the Netflix documentary on America's Team? Oh, yeah. You need to check that out. That's a lot of nostalgia going back when Jerry bought the team and they fired Tom Landry and all the turmoil that surrounded that. And then after that, they brought in Jimmy Johnson, and his coaching style was a lot different than most were used to. And
well, wait, there was that one. What was it? 1 year, 2 years of Barry Switzer. Was that in between? Where did Barry come? No, Barry came in after Johnson.
Right after they won. They won back-to-back Super Bowls,
and then Barry piggybacked.
They fired Jimmy Johnson after they won back-to-back Super Bowls. Brought in Barry Switzer. They lost that next one in the NFC Championship, and then the following one they won.
They come back and put the smack, and all of them were just like the Bills, and then the Steelers, wasn't it? Super Bowl 30 was
and that was the last one. That was after that. After Barry Switzer, that was it.
Goodness, man, what a ride it's been if you're a Cowboys fan. But you know what? It's I'm a good Cowboys fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still holding on to hope.
They've had ups and downs, but I'm That's why I said that I think this game will determine a lot because no one is predicting them to win tonight. You know, they're playing the Super Bowl, last year's Super Bowl champion. So with them playing the Eagles in Philadelphia, if some way they were to miraculously pull out a win, I mean, all these bandwagon fans would – I mean, it would totally flip the script. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not predicting they're going to win either. I think it's going to be probably a blowout. But if that's the key phrase for every Cowboy fan. If they could pull it out, can you imagine? Can you imagine the hoopla and all the fanfare surrounding that? They'd be talking more about the Cowboys than Bill Belichick. And that's saying something.
Well, you're reminding me of that movie Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there might be a chance, more like a .005, but maybe.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been a fun ride. I had the privilege in Fargo to work with a really good man up there, Phil Hansen, and Phil was in the Ring of Honor at Buffalo. And I didn't harp on him too much about those Super Bowl years for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, they had a rougher time than the Cowboys is all that they've experienced with the ups and downs.
But Phil called me, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago to check in. Every once in a while we touch base, and it's kind of cool just chat. He's just a good guy. He's just down to earth, nice guy, and he was asking about family, and I was asking about his family. He's had a special needs daughter for many, many years. I think she's 30 now or so, and so they've got some help now to help out. And he kind of told me, he goes, well, we're pretty much empty nesters now, and so it's always good to catch up with Phil. And it just, it's so neat to talk to guys who have lived through this journey of, going to college. And he went to North Dakota State and then ended up getting on with the Buffalo Bills and had a very successful career there. But he's just so down to earth, and he's a really, really good guy. And it's cool to hear his journey. And he told me something, he was asking me about the sports stuff, and he goes, do you miss it? I said, yeah, of course I miss it. But I said, I don't regret the decision I made. And he told me on the phone, he said, there's a lot of guys who pursued this career, and you're just similar story to yours, Rob, being in broadcasting. And he goes, I'm glad you did get out of it, man, because you get to spend time with your family. He goes, there's so many that are involved in the NFL or in the media business that they look back and they don't regret, but they say, I wish I would have been there for my kids growing up. I never got to see them. And he told me the story of a head football coach. I won't mention the name, but unfortunately both of his sons are heavily into drugs and drug addiction. And Phil was telling me, he goes, and I question if it's because he was never around his family. He was never able to provide that foundation in the right way. And that's tough. So it kind of put it into perspective for me, and I told him, I said, man, I really appreciate hearing that, Phil, because it's good to hear that from a guy who's lived it and, went through it. And he said, me being in the NFL with my job, I was still able to be there around my family a lot, and that was important to me. But, I mean, that year I was up in Fargo, man, and the November, man, I was only home for 2 days out of the whole month. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, Yeah,
you look at these guys, these big name broadcasters, and you wonder how in the world they maintain that balance. You know what I'm saying? Especially, I mean, well, you still experience it with broadcasting high school football and just being gone all the time. I think about Kirk Herbstreit,
remember him?
Well, he's on College Game Day, and then he calls college football, and then he also is now calling NFL games. So, I mean, he is all over the country from one coast to the other coast.
But that's not the Bachelor guy, is it?
No, Kirk Herbstreit. The guy that does College Game Day and all that.
Okay. I don't know what I'm thinking.
With the dog. Remember the dog?
Yes.
So
I got you now.
Yeah, he's I think about him and his balance, how in the world he has balance. Now, I know they have a lot of off time in the off season, and they try to give him that space during the off season, but man, that guy's all over.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Bachelor guy because I'm like, how's that guy a sports broadcaster?
I don't know who you're talking about, but
oh boy, the Bachelor host or whatever. Only reason I know about my wife watches those shows. She kind of got me into some of them. You know, I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of cool. You know,
the Bachelor is just wrapped up, right?
I haven't watched it this season. If she's been watching it, yeah.
I thought I heard something about that.
They had like the Golden Bachelor and then the other one and all this other hoopla. But this guy's on there. You know, the other guy, he unfortunately, you know, was taken out of context, and they axed him. He's the one that started the whole franchise.
Oh, really?
Basically, you know, and then that guy's not there, and they bring in this other guy, and I'm like, didn't I see him in a Rooms to Go commercial? You know, and sure enough, it's that guy.
Yeah, the only problem I have with it, or one of the problems I have with those shows is that, you know, none of that stuff ever works out.
No.
I mean, it never works out. They go over and so dramatic, and this one's crying, and this one wants that one, and blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, it's just throw a grenade in there and blow the whole thing up.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in a way, I guess at least it's good that they go through marriage and, you know, they try to get – but is the process – it's not even biblical. That's the problem with it. It's just, let's meet up, let's do this, let's do that, let's get married, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's the wrong way to approach it.
Oh man, it's devaluing of what marriage is all about. But I mean, that's our culture today, but
it's taken the holy out of matrimony, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we'll have your Bachelor update next week. Jason Bay, Bachelor update. We're going to start a new segment.
I think it's over, Rob.
New segment coming to the show. It's called Pastor's Perspective, coming up here on Thankful Thursday.
I don't know about that.
Hey, we do want to welcome you in as we get rolling. Thank y'all for hanging out with us here on a very Thankful Thursday. As always, a big thank you to Elliot Herzlich from Elliot's Jewelers. He's online at elliotsjewelers.com for all of your jewelry needs. And if you are ready to wed in holy matrimony, go see my good friend Elliot Herzlich. He'll hook you up with a beautiful ring and get you connected, and probably even solder that thing on your finger if you want, so it'll never come off, which is where it should belong. But he'll take care of you. It's Elliot's Jewelers online at elliotsjewelers.com. You know, Elliot did this one. I think I told you about it, Jason. Back in the day, I said I wanted something a little more masculine, and I always loved talking about it. And I have a lot of people that have asked me about it, and he did a great job on this one for me. And, you know, he's just a wonderful man. Well, Bridget had wanted one of those, I forget what you call it. You know, you have your regular band, but then there's that other one that you – I don't know what that one's called. Do you? It's like a –
Well, it would be the engagement ring and then the wedding band.
I guess that's it. So the ring, and then the band. Mm-hmm. That's it. I can't even think straight. So the wedding band, I got the engagement ring somewhere else because I wasn't here in Huntsville at the time. But then I got to know Elliot. And so I got the band from him, and it matched perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, it just matched perfectly, and he did a great job with that. Hey, we are here, too, on this Thankful Thursday. Big shout-out, Jason Bay from First Baptist Church, a Harbor of Hope here in Huntsville. You can find out more information online at fbchuntsville.org. Jason, it's been a pretty hectic week. I know, you know, and a good week, though. You know, opportunity to serve families during some hard times. You know, we've lost some good people here at this church, people that have really meant a lot to so many. And you know, as a pastor, you get to be there, though, and support the family. And I was just doing a service on Saturday, and I was very thankful to our friends at Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. They had called and asked a couple weeks ago if I'd help out a family, and they were going through a tragic loss of a man and his wife losing their son, who was only in their 30s. But, you know, it's in times of these that we come together and we support each other, and there's just there's a sense of family about that. And I know you're helping a family, I helped a family, and then, you know, Wednesday Night Life has been rolling and going. That's been going good, and getting ready for First Sunday for Discover First. I mean, it's all happening at once, man.
Yeah, it is. It is really busy, and this week has been a definitely a challenging week. We've, like you said, you and I both have experienced just dealing with loss with families, and spent a good bit of time up in the hospital this week, our local hospital here, and with a family that lost a great man. And I was up there, and I was in the ICU with them a few nights, and just sitting there with them and talking to them in early mornings. And I left the hospital and came back, and I went up there again, and I ran into another family that I knew from a previous church that I pastored out in Dodge. And a sweet lady, she was also in the same ICU, just 2 doors down from from the man that was passing away, and she was passing away as well. And we were sitting there in the waiting room and just talking and remembering back to years ago when this lady that helped us and provided, and she was a great cook, and she served a lot of people, so sweet. She was the lady that when we first moved to Dodge, she was serving in the nursery there, and she was watched our kids for us, and so we were talking to them, and her grandson was there, and I was talking to him, and he had helped us out at our camp that we did, Christian camp, and we were just recounting all the things that had happened since, and how quickly time goes by, and how short life is. And I think for you and I both, it's a reminder of how precious life is and how short it is. The Bible reminds us of this over and over throughout the Bible, the brevity of life. We're here for just a little while, and then life vanishes away. And how important it is that we put those things into perspective. I think that's really the inspiration for this morning, is to think about life and how quickly it passes, and to make sure from your decision in broadcasting to come back to Huntsville, to you serving in a funeral, serving a family and a family that you didn't even know until they needed somebody and you were there for them. And you and I sit here on this Thursday morning, and we're reminded of that through the loss of those that we love and others love. It's so important to keep things into perspective on a daily basis, to really look at your life and make sure you're investing that time in the most productive way possible, because it's here today and gone tomorrow. Whenever I was a senior in college, I was really praying in my room about what God would have for me, about my future. And there was a lot of things on the table which I could do and where I could go, and I was really trying to decide. And I came across the passage in James chapter 4 where it says, "What is your life? It is a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away." Instead, we ought to say, if the Lord wills, we'll do this or that. But in exchange, all boasting is evil, the Bible says, because we plan out all of our hopes and dreams, and we'll say we'll go to this city or that city, engage in business and make a profit. And it was a reminder to me in that passage that I want to do whatever I can do in the short time that I'm here to bring glory to God with my life and with my family. So I prayed in my dorm or in my apartment that night that, God would just use me in the time that I have for whatever He had for me, not what I wanted, but what He had for me. And that's really when I surrendered to ministry. But my life since then, and the families and the people that I've come in contact with, and also the tragedies that I've been involved in my life through personally and experience with others, it's just a constant reminder that life is so precious, it's so short, it's here today and gone tomorrow. Make sure that you have your eye on eternity. Make sure you have planned your heart and your life out with God and got things right. And make sure you're investing the time that you have here on things that really matter, make a difference. We spend so much of our life on the rat wheel of life, only to get off at the same place we got on every morning. We get in these ruts where we do everything the same way, and life just, before long we look at our mirror and we're gray-headed and our knees don't work like they used to, and neither do our eyes and our ears. But it's a reminder, life is short. Remember that.
That's a good word. I was wondering, do you have a hidden microphone in my house? Because my wife and I were talking about this last night. I was kind of, the kids were getting rowdy again, and I'd kind of told her, I said, I feel like we're just in this mundane cycle of get up, go to work, and it's not a negative thing, but, and I told her, I said, I get up, I do the show, I work, and I love working here at the church. And then I try to catch up on other things, and then usually it's me, but Bridget's been off a lot. Unfortunately, she's been off. I say unfortunate because her schedule's kind of up and down, but she's been off, so she's been taking care of the children. And so last night I was just kind of frustrated, and I was just like, it's just the same mundane cycle. And I was like, we just got to get out of here for a week and just break. But I feel like we can't, because now we're dealing with our poor dog, and it's one of these things where he's happy, he's okay, he's in good spirits, he's wagging his tail, but we can't leave him with anybody right now. He's got to, that tumor has opened up, and he needs. I wouldn't say like around the clock care, but I'm not going to take him somewhere and ask them to change out his bandages and everything. And he's not in bad shape right now. I mean, he's, in fact, by the grace of the Lord, his tumor shrunk a little bit and his leg quit swelling up. Yeah. Because the vet told me on last Friday, he goes, well, that leg's just going to keep swelling up. And he goes, I wouldn't put him down yet. He's okay. And he's like, look at him. He's jumping up on me. He's wagging his tail. And then, all of a sudden his leg is now almost back to normal. The tumor shrunk down.
Wow.
And so, and the only thing different, I'm giving him some sort of turkey mushroom stuff I found on Amazon.
Bring it up here.
Yeah. So, but when you have something like that on your side, and it's a pretty big tumor, but he's kind of gnawed at it, and unfortunately it's kind of opened up a little bit, and so that requires care.
Really.
So I told Bridget, I said, well, forget anything now, because now we're gonna have to be here, with this. But I needed to hear that this morning, Jason. I feel like it's a reminder, and maybe I don't ever want to come across as a victim of anything. And I've always said this, that we are victors, not victims. And for me personally, I need to really reflect on that and really take that to heart. And I think other people out there do too, because we get in this, like you said, we get in this cycle of going here and doing this. That's what I love our Thursdays. It's I love Sundays, because Sundays you come to church and you hear a word and you take that and you apply it with you, and then you come back on Wednesday to kind of re-energize, and Thursdays are re-energize. And here's the key to it. You need to be re-energizing the Lord every day, not just one day a week or 2 days, but every morning. And thank you for that word. I needed to hear that this morning.
Well, it's not just like you said. I mean, it's for everybody, because everybody struggles with this. We all get into those places and those times and those ruts where we just feel like we're just, like I said, running on that rat wheel, just never ending. It's just the same thing every day. And I think that, so here's a passage of scripture I want to read to you. It says, this is in James chapter 4, verse 13. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, and make a profit. How many of us do that?
We sound like me in Fargo.
Yeah, we plan it out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. This is what's going to happen next week. We got this schedule. We got that schedule. We're planners. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. That's the reminder. That was the reminder, the eye-opener to me. And it has been throughout my life, because when you experience things like that, when you sit with somebody who's with their husband that's taking his last breath, or a family that's they're there with their grandmother, or a tragic situation like you were involved in with a young man. Mm-hmm. All that is just a reminder, boom, 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 one after another. It happens so quickly, and life can just change in an instant. Life can change in an instant. This week I've been with my mother. She's a school teacher, and she just goes nigh and nothing. She's always teaching. She's always around kids. She loves kids. She's 80 years old, will be 81 this year, still teaching third grade. And she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she had cancer earlier in the 90s, and breast cancer. And ever since then, she's been pretty healthy. She went through all chemo treatments and radiation and everything, and God healed her from that. And through then, she's been pretty healthy, and this last couple of weeks she's been having a few little health scares, and I've taken her to the doctor, but again we're sitting there and we're reminded that boom, it changes so quickly with one word from the doctor's mouth. You realize it really puts it all back into perspective. But we need to keep that perspective continually. And you say, you can't afford to take time off or to do this or that, but you can't afford not to. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you have to go on an elaborate vacation or that but just time away from everything, turning off the phones and just being with your family, just those times, taking the dog for a walk, going for a bike ride, whatever it is that you find that release. I know some people it's fishing, going fishing, or just doing something that gives you a little bit of time to just reflect.
Some people it's alligator wrestling,
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Could be.
Kind of wrap up this segment, I think, the song that kept popping into my head, Amy Grant back in the day, it says, keep the candle burning. But then, sometimes the candle blows out, so you can't always keep it burning, and that's okay. So I wonder whatever happened to her. You remember her back in the day, Amy Grant?
Yeah, and she divorced her husband.
Yeah, I know there's some things
and that was a big ordeal. And then she married Vince Gill.
That's right. Yeah. Are they still married? I wonder.
I don't know.
I hadn't kept up with it.
I probably.
I just remember that song, "Keep the Candle." There was a Christian radio station back in the day in Austin, KNLE 88.3 or whatever. If it's on the 88s, it's probably one of those kind of like, whatever. Once you get after 92 on the radio dial, then you're doing pretty good. But those 80s are reserved for those kind of low budget, kind of whatever type stations. And KNLE, I just remember that station distinctively, and it was really neat. There were two families, very, very spiritual families, believers in the Lord. Love those families. I give a lot of credit to my faith journey to those two families. It was a really unique situation because it was two families. It's husband and wife, both of them, husband and wife. Both of them had sons, and both of the sons were the same ages. So it was really neat. You had this family here, and both of them went to the same church. They were the same denomination, all that. And so, but they were always listening to it. They didn't have TVs in their home. They didn't believe in TVs. So they didn't, no TVs, but they had the radio. They always had the radio on. And I remember those kids growing up, and they're believers, and I know they're going, they're following the Lord, and I know they're going to Jesus one day. They're just good people. But I'll never forget those kids, man. They were so sheltered. They were homeschooled, and I even told one of them this. One of them and I became best friends. I mean, to this day we still chat. And he's been going through, talk about a story, a testament of faith, and the Lord working in this man's life. I mean, they gave him. I think they told him 3 or 4 years ago, you got less than a year to live, and he's still going strong. He has some illness that requires, it's not cancer, but he has to take chemotherapy for it. And but he's doing well. He even had a chance. He moved up to Canada with his wife. Guy never had a girlfriend his whole life. And one day he and I were driving around in his old white Chevy truck. I remember this distinctly. We used to play basketball all the time. He's one of my best friends, and we were cruising around. We used to just go on these drives where we just get in the truck, drive, don't even know where we're going, and then use the GPS to get us back. And one night we ended up way outside of Rockdale, Texas, and we were chatting, and we said, all right, well, let's turn around and go home. We've been driving about an hour, so we knew if we were driving an hour, it's going to take an hour to come back. And anyways, we started chatting, and he was telling me, he goes, he's like, man, I know the Lord's calling me to something. I just don't know what it is. And he goes, but I'm just going to continue to serve him, do whatever I can. And I told this particular guy, to this date, I've never heard him say a bad word. And I told him, I said, if you ever say a bad word, I'm going to quit believing because you're my strength, And I've never heard him to this. He told me one day, he goes, well, man, I've said a bad word before. I said, not around me, you haven't. I said, don't even get started. Never heard him. Not one time, Jason. And anyways, we were driving, and he told me all this, and I said, well, you know what, man? And this is where I got a phrase from, and I've changed it over the years. But at the time, I told him, I said, pursue your passion, man, not an unknown future, because we don't know what the future holds. And, now I understand as I look back, and that's the advice I used to give to people, pursue what you're passionate about because, it'll lead to something. Well, now I understand pursue what the Lord is dreaming for you. Well, for him, his passion was what the Lord was calling him to do, so it did work out. He was he knew music really well. At the time, he was working for a propane place in Georgetown, and this propane company, they were developing, they were changing, they thought propane was going to be the future. Remember that? There was a phase where propane was going to start powering everything because it burns, it's clean, cheaper, burns clean.
We had a bus out at Richards that was propane, and
this company
sold it.
And you know what? The company in Georgetown may have built the ignition for. That's what they did. They were one of the top companies in the globe for propane powered vehicles. They would convert buses. They would convert vehicles, and the biggest client they had were buses. They would always convert them.
We got a government grant to do that for clean burning, but the problem was because we're in Richards, and a lot of the games that the kids would play would be so far away that it would be hard to find like a
place to refill it. Yeah,
exactly. So you had to call propane places ahead of time and arrange it, and they just got tired of always worrying about trying to find a place. But anyway, go ahead and finish the story.
Well, yeah, so this company's called Clean Fuel USA, and that's what they did, and I think they're out of business now. But, boy, they were booming back in the day. And my buddy worked for them, and they would build the propane gas dispensers. Their dream was to put a propane dispenser at every gas station in America. In fact, he converted George Bush's Jr., the boy, not the daddy, but I forget, GW, not HW, but GW, converted his ranch truck out in Crawford to propane. He told, I won't say the full story, but he basically said, I got to drive George Bush's truck. I'll tell you later. It was pretty funny what he said. It's nothing bad, but it's another long story. But anyways, he did that, and so he was doing all this. He said, I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I said, well, go out and pursue your passion, man. Not own the future. We don't know what the future holds. But whatever that little phrase was, he took it to heart, and he ended up going to Lufkin. There's a Bible college there, the UPC. It's United Pentecostal Church International. They're real big on the on that college. It's like Texas Bible College, I think it is, in Lufkin or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so he ended up going there, and what did he do? He pursued a degree in music. And I mentioned earlier, the guy never had a girlfriend. Well, he meets his future wife, first girl he dates, and he ends up marrying her, and they have 2 boys, and she's from Canada, and so they ended up moving to Canada. And it's a really neat story that when you remain in faith, you never know what the Lord is going to do. And, Kenny's been such a great friend to me for so many years. We still talk every once in a while and share jokes, and we don't get to see each other, obviously, with him being up in Canada. But anyways, it's just, I don't even know why I started telling that story.
Well, you started telling us about 88 point.
Oh, yeah, K&L, yeah, because they were always listening to that station. Yeah. K&L. They never had TVs in their house, didn't believe in TVs. The other kids, see, Kenny and I developed a really good friendship. And the other family, I developed a good friendship with them as well, but they were a little too hardcore about things. And I'll never forget, like, we'd play football on the weekends, and we had an alley between our house and the neighbors. And I took that thing to heart, Jason. I made a football field. I got a cup of sand. I got sand. I didn't have the powder that you put down. But, man, we took sand out of our sandbox. We made a football field, built field goals right there, put lights out there in the middle. It wasn't even our property. The county owned it, and had football. And we'd have practices. And these other 2 boys would come over, and I took my dad's old sawhorse. He had a bunch of sawhorses when he used to do framing on houses. And so I took a piece of PVC pipe, and I drilled holes in that PVC pipe. Actually, I didn't drill them. I had a hammer with them little nails because I wasn't allowed to use a drill probably. And I'll never forget, man, I took that PVC pipe, put some old nails and put it on that sawhorse and ran a water hose to it. And we'd drink out of it,
oh, wow.
To cool off. And those other kids were so hardcore. Well, our dad said that we can't drink out of that because there's germs in there. And I was like, give me a break. And I taught those kids how to play football. They had Joe Montana Sports Talk football on the Sega Genesis. And and Joe Montana was with the fumble. And so they thought if you passed the ball and you didn't catch it, it was a fumble.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd run around going, fumble. I said, it's not a fumble. It's an incomplete pass. And then it was funny. I'm not knocking these kids because and Kenny and I joke around about it all the time, but then they'd start saying stuff like, oh, it's against our religion. That was their number one phrase. So we started this joke about we always, hey, do y'all want to come? Well, you probably can't. It's against your religion, But you look back as a child and how fun those times were.
Yeah.
And I remember we didn't live very far down the street, but I would ask the bus on Fridays to let me off at their house because we'd all get together and play football. And it was so much fun. And I love every one of those kids, all 4 of them. They're all grown now and doing their own thing. But, man, I'll tell you, it's neat to think about memories. And it all spurred from thinking about 88 FM, KNLE, the candle of Austin. I mean, that's how corny this thing was. And both of those fans, they always had KNLE playing in their house when you'd walk in.
No TVs, just blaring 88.7.
Yeah, 88.7. KNLE. The light of Austin or something. I was like, give me a break, man.
Won't be long, and there'll be households all over Huntsville blaring Spirit Radio.
But that's okay. I'd be cool with that because we're at 94.
Oh, wow.
I made very clear that we were not below 92 on the radio dial.
Way to go, Rob.
So, yeah. 94.3. Anyways, let's take a break. We do have an awesome show. Thank you, Jason, for the inspiration earlier. Some things that I think a lot of folks need to hear. Jackie Barham will be joining us here before too long. She is the executive director of the Care Center Huntsville. They do such phenomenal work, and really cool opportunity because you serve on the board now at the Care Center.
Yeah, I've been my eyes have really been open to I always knew the ministry that they did was so vitally important, but I never knew just on a daily basis the spiritual conversations and just the people that they encounter on a daily basis that come through the doors there that we would never have the opportunity to minister to. It truly is a blessing in a major way.
It is. Well, hey, I was going to take a break, but I want to do some shout-outs real quick. Is that cool, Jason?
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of folks are joining us this morning, and some folks that I have not heard from in a long time, and it's really cool. Leslie Woolley's joining us. I'm not saying that I haven't heard from Leslie. I see Leslie around town. Appreciate her. Her and her husband are wonderful folks. Frank Oliveras is joining us from Frank's. You ever had Frank's Tacos?
Yeah, well, I was driving through there the other day. We were going to Trinity to a volleyball game, and we were coming back through, and I said, you know what? I need to stop at Frank's to get a taco because
you heard his ad on a broadcast.
I heard his ad repeatedly on the broadcast, and I said, they support Alpha Omega football, and I need to stop by there. But we didn't have enough time. We were short on time, so but next time we go that way, I'm definitely stopping by there. I've eaten there many times, right by the railroad tracks there in Riverside. But great man, great Christian. Loves the Lord, and we've talked about ministry and other things as I've gone in there and sat with him, but definitely support his business because he supports our local businesses.
Yeah, Frank is joining us. Also, Tommy Fila. Tommy is from Granger, Texas, home of the Granger Lions. And you know, it's neat. I see names like this, and it reminds me of how did I meet him? And the way I'd met Tommy just in brief passing was a buddy of mine in Granger had called one day and said, can you come broadcast our playoff games? Well, it was a little 2A school at the time, 2 or 3A, and I didn't know anybody in Granger. But this guy said, well, man, if you could do it, we'd just so appreciate that if you could. And Georgetown was out. And I said, yeah, man, I'll come do that. I said, could you connect me to one person there in town? Just one person. I mean, you know, if I can just get $50 to pay for my gas. He goes, well, I'll connect you to more than that. He goes, go talk to this guy. Jason, I kid you not, by the time I left that little community, because in sales, I always learn, you know, you got to be genuine, you know, and people pick up when you're not. Right. And I was very genuine. And, you know, realistically, if we could raise more than that, that would have been awesome because it would have supported some more things that we were doing. And people want to be involved. And so I just had an idea. If we could just do $50 a sponsor and, you know, maybe get 10 sponsors, that'd be great. I walked out of that little town with 20 sponsors that day.
Wow, that's
$1,000, and it got us more than just calling a game. I was able to bring on more people, and it all started from a guy that had a little auto shop in town. And this guy said, go over there and talk to him. And I went in. I was scared to death because I didn't know any of these people. And I walk in, and this guy's, what do you want? And I said, well, so-and-so. As soon as I said so-and-so, it's, you know, the curtain just went, the curtain opened up. Everything was fine and friendly. And by the time I left there, I said, well, so-and-so, do you know maybe 3 or 4 other people? Because that's what I was taught in sales. What, do you know 3 or 4 other people that may be interested? He started giving me names. You know, every one of those ended up sponsoring.
Wow.
And I was walking in and it was cool. It was small town America, mom and pop. And the coolest one, I walked in downtown. They have an old bank building downtown. Feels like you're walking back in the Bonnie and Clyde days. I mean, it was one of those type of banks. And whatever that means. You know, you walk in, still had the bars there where the teller is. I mean, literally had the bars right there. And I walked in, and it was weird for me to walk into a bank asking for a sponsorship, you know. And I remember asking this lady, I said, well, hey, so-and-so down here at the feed store, he said that y'all would probably be a really good resource to sponsor this broadcast, you know. And they said, yeah, absolutely. We can do that. She didn't even have to go ask anybody. She goes, it'll be just a minute. And I hear this tick, 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 tick. And I come back, and it's like this old school looking check where they literally have an imprint machine that imprints the dollar signs and the on the line.
Yeah,
and she gave me that check, and I told her, I said, I don't even want to cash this check. I mean, this thing was cool. And they sponsored.
Oh, that's great.
So it's neat seeing that. Wanted to give a shout-out to Linda Webb joining us. I think I've heard of Linda. No, we know Linda very well. We appreciate Linda so much. And one that really prompted me to do this, a friend of mine in Georgetown joining this morning, Derek Zwinterman. He said, I love it whenever I happen to cross your live feeds. I want to just give a quick shout-out to Derek. He kind of does what I do here at First for my old church in Georgetown, Celebration Church. Joe Champion's the pastor there, and And I got to know Derek through that church, and Derek is I think a retired firefighter now. He'd worked in his Austin Fire Department for many years, and something called the Austin Disaster Relief Network. He was really involved with that. And when there are natural disasters, Derek's one of the first on the ground to help organize and put things together. And he said, he just told me, man, the feed is coming quick. He said, I'm retiring from AFD this month after 28 years.
Wow.
To focus on Serve Source. Derek found his calling many years ago through Celebration. And he found his calling in serving others and helping people through disasters. And that the church was so wonderful being there, because I remember specifically when the Bastrop fires happened, they opened up that entire building and it was just loaded with supplies. People were pouring in, and that's really when I saw Derek doing some incredible work. And he's just a good man and does great work, and it's so cool to see him on my feed this morning, because I've always thought the world of that guy.
That's awesome.
And he's never aged. Derek, you've never aged. I remember the first time I saw him, they were having – on Wednesday they have youth night, kind of like we have Wednesday Night Life here at First. They had youth night in this building they call the Heroes Building. It's where all the youth gathered, and I remember seeing this guy, and he was dressed like a clown. It was like some dress-up night for the youth. And I thought he was like some high school senior. And I was like, who's this like real tall guy over here thinking he's all Mr. It, And then I got to know him, and I was like, this is a pretty – and then I found out, man, this guy's like, probably in his 30s at the time, and he looked like he was like 18. I thought he was a senior in high school. And to this day, the guy's never aged, man. So
tell
Derek –
us the secret. Tell us the secret.
Yeah, tell us the secret. But Derek's was Serve Source, and he said they're online at servesource.org. Derek, so good to have you this morning, man. So I appreciate you. Love you, man. He has made it's cool, because I don't think people realize sometimes the impact
that's right
that you make. And Derek has made a tremendous impact just on my life, and by just seeing how he serves others, it put a desire in me to want to serve others. And I don't know if I've ever told you that, Derek, but you have, man. And in a similar role, I get to do a little community outreach here at First. And I think and whenever you guys approached me and said, Rob, would you like to come on staff, and gave me an opportunity, provided an opportunity. I never shared this, and I'm not just saying it because he's here. I thought of Derek first. That was the first guy. I said, well, that's kind of cool. That's what Derek does back at home in Georgetown. So anyways, well, good opening, my friend.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun this morning. Do us a favor, like Derek did. Send in a comment. Let us know that you're out there. We'll get to more of those at the end of the show. We're going to step aside, take a brief break. We have a great friend joining us this morning, none other than Miss Jackie Barham. She is the Executive Director of Care Center Huntsville. We're so thankful to have her on when we come back. As always, we're here on a Thankful Thursday. It's brought to you by First Baptist Church. More information online at FBCHuntsville.org. Not Huntsville, but Huntsville.
There you go.
.org. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us as we continue on. This is Good Morning Huntsville, and we'll be right back after this.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope. This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas.
Imagine a voice of hope reaching every corner of Huntsville, from homes and hospitals to prison walls. That's the heart of Spirit Radio. We're a truly local 501c3 nonprofit, and we're raising $25,000 to build our tower and get on the air. With your help, we'll broadcast encouragement, truth, and the love of Christ across our community and across the world through the Spirit Radio FM app. Visit spiritradio.fm and give today. Let's bring light to Huntsville and beyond together.
At Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, we're not just a place where children pass the time. We're not a daycare. We're a child care center focused on growth, learning, and discovery. Every day, children engage in meaningful activities that build confidence, independence, and a love for learning. From reading and math to social and practical life skills, our students are active participants in their development. Ready to give your child something more? Visit tomorrowspromise.info and discover what makes our school different. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Education you can trust.
This is KHSP LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville. Support for SpiritRadio.fm comes from loyal listeners just like you. Want to help spread the good news across Huntsville and beyond? Underwriting opportunities are available for loyal listeners, businesses, and nonprofits. Visit SpiritRadio.fm and tap Donate today.
Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit 94.3.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, as we continue trucking along. How about 70-degree? Boy, this morning it felt so nice. As he walked outside, to me, it was a little chilly this morning. My dog woke me up at 2 a.m., our buddy Mac, and he wanted out. He's going out a lot because he's on prednisone right now with everything he's going through, and so I have to let him out multiple times a night. And I got up at 2 a.m., and he wanted out, and I said, I'm going to sit out here. And I sat out there with him because it was so nice. But it ain't going to last long. 95 and sunny today. We'll get down to 74 tonight. More of the same over the next couple of days, and then rain back in your forecast this weekend. A big chance of rain, but only 84 on Sunday, but a 60% chance of rain there. And we'll also have some rain returning late Saturday afternoon as well. A couple of quick things as far as your weather to keep your eye on. There is now tropical disturbance off the African coast, but it continues to push more towards the United States, and now the forecast track has changed, and it's actually dropped farther to the south, and so this could, it's still very early, but could impact the Gulf of Mexico, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that over the next couple of weeks. Right now, an 80% chance that thing is going to form into a tropical system. And then as we look over to the eastern Pacific, Hurricane Lorena is right off of the Mexico coast. That will be making landfall sometime later tonight or early tomorrow morning. And some of the forecast track has that system as a subtropical system coming right over Texas, right over the Texas Hill Country, and possibly into East Texas within the next week. So keep an eye on that as well.
I heard there's potential for that to bring a lot of rain to that area. So once again,
keep that in your prayers. Well, hey, check this out. We get to have our friend, Miss Jackie Barham. Jackie, good to see you.
Hey, good morning.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
We just love having your joy on this show. So it's been a while. How have you been?
Well, I appreciate that. I've been doing well, outside of waking up a little late this morning.
Okay. No, you're right. Hey, you're right on time by my standards, so it's all good. Ask Jason.
So that worked out. Yeah. Last night, my husband and I we led a study at the church for The Meaning of Marriage by Tim Keller. We had chapter 3, The Essence of Marriage, and so it worked out really well, and I slept very good last night.
Go. Well, we always want you to be rested and recharged, and Jackie, so good to have you this morning. Jackie's the executive director of Care Center Huntsville. I'm so thankful to Daniel Bays. You know, years ago whenever we were doing Rays of Hope, I was trying to identify some nonprofits that that do great work in the community that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of. And Jason just talked about this earlier, now serving on the board, getting to see kind of inside and how the organization is making such an impact. And you guys are doing tremendous work. And Jason, you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, one of the things that like I said, the churches in the area, we have a chance to minister to a lot of people. But the care center, the clientele that they minister to is a group of people that the church many times doesn't have the opportunity to minister to. The likelihood that they would walk into a church and ask for help is slim. Mm-hmm. But the likelihood that they would approach a place like the care center is very high. And we've seen that. I've seen that just being on the board. Is I realized how important the work that they do there. I just didn't realize the important work that they do there every single day. Mm-hmm. Every day they have people coming in there that are dealing with pregnancy or dealing with some other unknown in their life, and there are loving people on the other side of that door that are ready to greet them and lead them along and help them and be that place. When I can only imagine being a college student. We were on the campus at Texas A&M with my kids walking around. When my daughter, she started A&M this year, and so we were just walking around. I saw these little signs throughout the campus that all it said was pregnant, need help. And I knew that was going to point them back to a pregnancy care center in that area. Mm-hmm. And ours does the exact same thing right here on the campus of Sam Houston, but not only for the campus of Sam Houston, the whole entire area of people that when they're reach that uncertain area and they come to that question, oh, what do I do now? There are some people that are willing, as Jackie Shirt says, that are willing to tell the truth about what the right decisions are and how to help make them not only just physically what to do next, but spiritually and mentally. It's a mental health challenge as well, and they have the resources over there, trained resources to provide quality information and care for these people. So I say it to our congregation all the time. You are a lot of ministries overlap, or some parachurch organizations overlap what the church is doing. But this is one of those ministries where they're reaching into an area where the church just is never going to be able to penetrate. This is an unreached people group, and they are that resource for them. I would say one of the most important nonprofit organizations in our community. They are making a huge impact that we won't realize until we get to eternity, the difference that these people have made. And not only, and I don't want to steal all of her thunder here, but not only with the women, but this year and previous years, they've made a concerted effort because they realize that it's not just the woman that's impacted, but also with the men. There's two men's ministers over there that not only help in the situations that go on day to day over there, but also the men that come through the door. And there's more men than you would think that come through the door.
Well, Jackie, you've been involved for some time now, and always love having you on and just sharing a little bit about the impact that you get to make through the organization, not for your glory, but for the Lord's glory. And tell us just a little bit about how the journey's been. It's been a few years now, right? Closing in on it?
Yes, it's been 3 years, actually. It seems like it's gone by very quickly as I sit back and think about the time at the center. What a privilege. I always say that. It's a privilege that God would have called me. It wasn't what I was necessarily looking for, this position. I did want to stay in the same mission field when we moved here. We moved to Conroe. But God opened the door for this leadership role, and I praise him for that. And I think back to when the center started over 2 decades ago, and the heart and the vision that they had back then, and God has just made it come to life this whole time. And even though I was not a part of that equation over 20-something years ago, it's amazing how God has now used me and the team to continue to push forward what their dream was over 20 years ago. So
I'd like to ask a question, because when you say Care Center of Huntsville, we talk about this on our show a lot and went through Rays of Hope and other areas, but explain to the people what the Care Center is and what the Care Center does.
So the mission of the Care Center is to tell the truth, just like you said earlier about healthy life choices. And I always like to say that truth is with a capital T, that capital T being Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. That is the thing that's going to transform someone's life. I have my own personal testimony of being pregnant out of wedlock and getting to a point in my own story where I just hit that wall. Like, I can't do, Jackie's way is not working, clearly. 6 months after our son was born, and hearing the gospel from Jerry Falwell and just realizing that is what was missing in my life. We all have that God-sized hole that we're trying to fill with something, whether it's shopping or, drugs, sex, whatever it is. Sorry if I couldn't say that word this early in the morning, but it's what we do it's what we, touch point on at the center. But we're all trying to fill something, fill that void. And until someone surrenders or submits to Jesus as their Lord and Savior, you're always longing for something. And so the Care Center is there to tell that truth with a capital T about healthy life choices when you come through that door. Whether it is, we have people that are coming that say they're already Christians, they're already believers. And so we might be able to challenge them on the choices that they're making or encourage them in their walk with the Lord. And those that don't know him, we always ask for permission to share Jesus Christ with them, because we know that is going to be the thing that's going to transform their life.
Yeah, I think the work is just incredible. And you think about the journey of having to go through a difficult season, what could be difficult, but you guys show them, hey, there is something so much greater than this that can help you through, and that's in a relationship with the Lord. Y'all provide so many resources. One way that you do it in a big way, and I think I don't want to let the secret out, but I think the way that you guys do your banquets is so great, because you have folks that sponsor that help cover the overhead, so you're not having to worry about taking additional resources from people in the community to pay for the expense of just having the event. So you have faithful sponsors who say, hey, we're going to help with the food, we're going to help with the facilities. So all that's covered. That means that anything that comes in goes directly to the Care Center. And one way that y'all do it, you don't even charge for the banquet. People come in and they give. Let us know a little bit about the banquet coming up this year. That's one reason I wanted to chat with you this morning. That is such a great event that y'all have every year.
Yes, thank you so much. It's our Celebrating Life banquet where we're able to share with others what God has really done. For his name's sake, that's what it's about. It's not about any of us. He just has chosen, he has called each of us individually to act as his hands and feet in this way. But our Celebrating Life banquet is this year, October 6th, which is the first Monday of October. It'll be at the fairgrounds, and we're looking forward to that time of celebration of life and what God is doing for the people. And thank you so much for talking about the sponsors, the underwriters. You really help us to cover the overhead of the banquet so that all the funds that are received that night can go to the work of the mission. And being kingdom citizens, we're doing God's work. We're grateful that God would trust us with the hearts of the people that he walks through that door, and that you in the community are a vital part of that, because Care Center Huntsville sees a community where lives are saved both in the womb and for eternity. And that's so very important. And we cannot do this alone. We're grateful that God has chosen each of us, but he's also calling people in the community to support what it is that's happening at the Care Center.
Every month at the board meeting, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but every month Jackie produces a list of statistics that tells us how many people came through the doors, how many people came through the doors and chose life with their baby, how many children were born that they have made contact with, and how many people came to know the Lord Jesus Christ as their Savior. Briefly, if you have that on the top of your mind, in the past year or so, and no, it's okay, in the past year or so, what are we looking at basically about those people that have come to know Christ or those babies that were saved?
So I'm trying to remember for last year, forgive me for that, but I want to say last year we saw almost about 700 clients come through the door.
Wow.
Those are males and females, the majority of which are females, but we had males that are coming, and we're projecting for the future for that will be increase as we last year had a men's ministry director. This year we have our new men's ministry director, and we have another men's minister advocate that will be serving our men. But we have seen 19 babies' lives that have been saved.
Wow.
This year we've noticed an uptick in our abortion vulnerable women that have come through the door. It's upwards of 80 women, 80 plus women. The percentages are going up. And as the abortion pill, even though in the state of Texas we say abortion is illegal here, there's now SB 7, I believe, that's on the docket for protection from abortion pills coming into the state as well. But we're finding that women are vulnerable, whether they've had abortions in the past or they're now contemplating abortion. Access to these pills is making it easier to do. But Texas, I just love it so much. I'm not from the state of Texas. I'm from Missouri. Thank you for Missouri and what that has done for me. But I love being a part of what I call a conservative nation here in Texas because life is so valuable, is so important. And we have our legislators that are really working hard to protect lives that are here, understanding we are image bearers of the Most High God, that each person that God determines should have life has a purpose and a plan. And so I'm just grateful to be a part of what's happening here, and praise God.
I want to say this. The Care Center, you've probably heard of organizations that do this throughout the nation, and some of those organizations take federal funding, which limits the amount of evangelism that they can do or sharing the gospel with people, and it limits what you can say, and how you approach that whole situation is different. But ours is specifically funded by the churches and people in our area. So it's highly important that the people that are listening today, and not only the people that are listening, if you could help spread the word about how important this is, that we continue to have this ministry. This ministry is every year is dependent upon the people that are just like the people that are listening today, just like the people that'll be at the banquet, just like our churches. It's dependent upon that. If we don't have that funding, then we cannot do what she does. They cannot do what they do on a daily basis. They're there they're there daily to be there, to have that open door. And if we don't have that funding, we can't do what we need to do. So it takes everybody to give a little. Everybody gives a little. Imagine what we can do, and we can fund this thing for years to come. But I know money these days is tight, and churches are not in a financial situation that they have been in the past, maybe. But this is so vitally important. It needs to be on the top of the agenda, because if we don't fund this, what does it say about our heart and about where we are as a nation? We need to put our money where our mouth is. We want these things to happen. It takes funding to be able to do it, and these are the people that you want doing it. The love that you see when you open that door is remarkable, and we need to continue to do that. And people online can do that. You can give online right now by going to the website, which is?
Yes, carecenterhuntsville.com, and just click donate.
Yeah, you can donate there. You can also be an underwriter for the banquet. You can call the Care Center and be an underwriter for the banquet and help out that way, and they will print your name, or if you want, in the bulletin, or your business. and we have a lot of those. And what does it cost to be an underwriter?
So underwriter, we're asking that you would be able to bless the center with at least $250 for your name to be in the program for a banquet. But of course, however God touches your heart, even above and beyond that, we are appreciative of that.
All that money is tax deductible. All of it goes to the benefit the center, and all of that money. I'm on the board. Every month we're looking at every single dollar and every single cent, making sure. I'm so proud of the board because the board is so aware of how important it is to be good stewards of the money that God has entrusted that center with, because they know how much it takes to. Every person that comes through there, they want to be able to provide the resources at no cost.
That's right, at no cost.
And they get ultrasounds. They're able to provide ultrasounds. The people that are there are trained to do this kind of work. And so it's the thing that touches me the most, though, Jackie, being a part, and it's just hearing the stories, because we look at statistics and they're numbers on a sheet of paper, but every one of those numbers represents somebody.
Yes.
Maybe there's a story that you could share with us. I know you can't use names and you have to be very vague because all this is confidential, but every now and then you'll text us, be in prayer for a client that came in that's going through this or whatever, and we do. We stop down right there and pray. But maybe there's a story, because I know that touches the heart more than anything, about maybe somebody in the last few months that has come by that you've seen God do a work in their life.
Yes, thank you for that. So we had a young lady come to the center that you could tell that it was all about the boyfriend and wanting to be with him, wanting to be near him. And she had a confirmation of pregnancy, and that was not a part of her plan, because that was going to keep her from being with a boyfriend and then pursuing what it is that they wanted. So she was very abortion determined. She had a plan of going to another state to get an abortion. I mean, you could tell in talking to her that she was very cold. It was like she had a brick wall up and around. She was protecting herself. She did not want to come to grips with the fact that she is a mother carrying this child, and so was trying to do whatever she could to protect her emotions from feeling the natural things that God would have us to feel in connecting to our child. And so she came for the ultrasound. The nurses provide a limited ultrasound for her. They were checking for viability. She was able to see the heartbeat of her baby, and still very, very cold. So we took her and we talked to her afterwards to really, we love on them and want to know about them. We love the child and we want that child to be saved. But we realize that it's the mother. Save the mother, you save the child.
Amen. Praise God.
And so we're looking at her and we're telling her how much we genuinely love her. And when we did that, we told her how much we love her. We told her how much the Lord loves her. And she just blinked 3 times. And it was as if there was a small crack in that wall at that point. We had touched something in her. But it's the genuineness, the honesty. When we say that we love you, we genuinely mean it. And what we mean is that we desire the best for you by God's design. We want to see that your life become fruitful and purposeful, and that you find the joy in the life that's in your womb. And so we just followed up with her, and she let us know that she's still pregnant. She hasn't made the decision for abortion, and that she is scheduled an appointment with her doctor. And we just praise God for moments of that, because sometimes it can be very, very difficult. People were coming with all different kinds of issues, concerns, and it may not have anything to do with pregnancy. You know, like you said, some are walking through the door with just stuff. And so it can be very difficult for our frontline advocates to deal with. But when we hear those stories, when we get those stories,
Amen.
God will give us those glimmers of hope throughout the time, and it just we're just like, thank you, Lord, that you give us that opportunity to act as your hands and feet, because he could have not given us that opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. What's the likelihood that she walks through the door of a church, especially coming in abortion-minded, abortion-determined, as you said, but she was willing to walk through the doors of that of the Care Center of Huntsville. I want those that have grown up in Huntsville. I grew up here in Huntsville. I went to high school here in Huntsville. Had the opportunity to live a large part of my life here in this community, and that white building on the hill over there used to be, as most people that have lived here long enough know, that used to be the old Sam Houston I remember the Huntsville Funeral Home was there. So my grandpa's funeral was in that building. I remember standing out there on the porch, many people coming through and greeting us on our visitation night, and going to that building for so many different occasions for the death of a loved one. And I think it's so fitting that building was purchased and now no longer represents a place of death and mourning, but represents a place of life and celebration and joy. Yes. What a testimony. I mean, that I think about that every time I walk through the doors for our board meetings, look at that building. When I was a little boy standing out there on the porch of that building, mourning my grandfather's death, and walking through now, and all the other clients that are walking through with the greatest gift. You know, every good and perfect gift comes from above. And I have had 10 children, as y'all know, and every one of those lives, you look at it when that newborn baby, and you hold that baby in your arms, and you realize there is no doubt there is a wonderful God that loves us. The beauty of life, the miracle of birth, the gift of a child is so just, it takes you aback. And I think of what you guys are doing to preserve that and to ensure that these women and men that come through there know the truth.
Yes.
Rob?
Well, no, I just am so appreciative, Jackie, of the work that you do. You know, I think there's, and I won't get into this, but there's a lot of politicizing, you know, around the word abortion, and there are excruciating circumstances, obviously, to where it's, you know, where people have some agreements and disagreements on that. But at the end of the day, you guys are leading people into something that is so tremendous. You know, many will come, and a lot of it is, you know, I didn't mean to get pregnant. What do I do now? That's the majority of what you guys are seeing. And you're giving them resources, and you're giving them hope. And one thing that I think is so important when I go back to the resources, you're providing them a pathway to say, yes, you can have the baby. Here's how you're going to do it, and we're going to help. And it all starts with a relationship with Christ. And, you know, I love the fact, too, we didn't mention this, but not only through these resources, but there's even Bible studies. You know, Jason's been talking a lot about the men, and we have a great guy here that's a good friend of ours, Jeremy, who's helping out alongside y'all's other men there. And I think it's so incredible to have an opportunity where men can come in and understand. And you're never going to understand as a guy what a woman is going through. But you know what? You're going to be able to sit down with other guys and talk amongst yourselves and fellowship, and then have that understanding of what it means to be a dad. Because I think so many dads don't understand sometimes. I'm still learning at 41
Me too.
what it means to be a dad. But Jackie, we so appreciate you and the hard work that you do. You're working in an area that is a difficult area to work in, but it's your calling. And I hate that you had to go through certain things, you know, when you were younger, but what a testimony that you have, that you can share your own personal experiences with everyone who walks through that door.
Praise God.
Let me share something. I think that when a woman that comes through there that maybe doesn't have the resources financially, maybe doesn't have the support at home, maybe doesn't have the support from the father in the picture, comes through those doors, I want the people to understand that it's not about convincing them to have the baby and then leaving them. Because what most people don't understand is it's not what they do is they commit to, if you will walk this journey, we will walk alongside of you. If you will walk this journey, if you will trust God, you will see the hand of God move not only through us but through other people. They take the woman through that place, help them if they need to find resources that will support them, help them find doctors that will support them. By the way, there's many doctors in our local area that are connected with the clinic, that believe in the mission, that know how important this is. They take Medicaid, they make sure that transition is an easy transition. But then even after the baby is born, they connect them with resources to get them resources to be able to provide. They connect them with churches, and churches have come along. Our church has come along, and other churches have come along to provide baby showers. Then they follow up with those mothers to celebrate birthdays and celebrate times where they come together. So this is a lifelong commitment that they're making with these mothers, and you've seen it because we had They wanted to have a little party for those mothers here at our church, and it was a room full of mothers and fathers that had walked this journey alongside of them. So it's not about saying, "Hey, we want to convince you of this, and then you're on your own." No, it's, "Hey, let me walk this journey with you. I'm not going to put my arm around you and leave you. I'm going to walk this journey with you as far as you will allow me to." And I know you have clients that have been around the center for many years.
Many years. Some that have gone to the Bible study even after their children have gone beyond the age, and it is a blessing. It is a blessing. And when you say working at the old funeral home, we always say it's from death to life.
Yeah, amen.
That's how we look at it. And for that team many years ago to pray and the Lord download in their heart, this is where I want the care center to be next. It just is awesome to see.
In walking distance of the university.
It's great.
I know. It's awesome. I love it. It gives me chills. And I just want to encourage you guys, if this is something that you believe in, that it's a community concern.
Yes.
Please help the care center. Please go online, donate. It takes everybody pitching in a little, and it's amazing what God can do. CareCenterHuntsville.com.
Yes,
Amen.
Thank you all so much.
Well, Jackie, thank you for what you do. I mean this. When you walk in, there's always such joy, and it takes a very special, dedicated, and passionate person to do the job that you do, because it's a difficult job. But you know what? You're the right person for the job and helping to lead that. You've got great folks around you. I'm not saying it because Jason's here, but you got a great board also.
We do.
But you got and
I'm new on the board. Yeah. They had a great board without me.
We got
They brought it down a notch when they had it.
That's pending. We'll get back to that. But thank y'all for what you do. You know, I've been able to be at the banquet before, and we'll have a table again this year. Thank you for extending that invitation.
Yes.
We had one last year, and we'll have one again this year. And I want to encourage anybody, if you feel a connection to help and you'd like to see what the care center is doing, go and join us. I think how many seats are at the table?
There are eight seats at each table, so you would host a party of 8. Include yourself in that, and we're hoping for a great turnout this year. Yes.
If you want to sponsor a table, you just call, and they will provide a table for you with your name on it, and you can eat. And hear the testimonies of what they're doing and give. It's an opportunity to give. It's their main fundraiser for the year.
Yes.
And it's where they get most of their funding for. So
yes.
we're praying for a great harvest.
Yeah, come and be a part of it. And I'll extend the invitation as I did last year, because several of you responded and came and gave. We'll have a table, I know, at the church and also through Hello Huntsville again this year. And if you're a part of our audience and you're saying, you know, this is tugging at my heart, I want to come and learn and I feel the need to give. And every little bit helps. Don't feel obligated to come and have to give $1,000. I mean, you give whatever you can give, but come and be a part. It doesn't cost anything to come. And I know that you'll feel compelled by the end of the night to say, you know what, I want to support this mission. Let me know in the comments or email hello@hellohuntsvilletx.com, and I'll be more than happy to talk with you about it, and would love for you to sit with us. Like we're saying on this Sunday night, come sit at our table. We want you to come sit at our table. So, Well, Jackie, thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much, and God bless you, and thank you for the incredible work that
that you and the Care Center continues to do.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, there she is, Jackie Barham. I always say Barham because I know Melissa Barham. Y'all spell your names the same way, but it's Jackie Barham from the Care Center Huntsville. And again, more information is online. We put that link up a little bit earlier, but it is carecenterhuntsville.com is where you can find out all the information. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. Jason has news you can use.
An abbreviated version.
When we come back. Stay with us. It's your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville here on a Thankful Thursday.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope. This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas.
The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
This is KHSP LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville. Support for SpiritRadio.fm comes from loyal listeners just like you. Want to help spread the good news across Huntsville and beyond? Underwriting opportunities are available for loyal listeners, businesses, and nonprofits. Visit SpiritRadio.fm and tap Donate today.
Welcome back. We have a man here at the door. Well, there's three men. Well, one of them's kind of in his early man stages. Jason, young man over here. Then there's this tall guy. He's a pretty good guy. He's a youth minister.
We're getting more and more guests to the program.
Yeah.
You know what we need to do, Rob, is we need to have a studio audience, and we need to charge an admission fee so that we can gain more money for the radio station.
We need to have a clap. We need to have a clap and a laugh sign up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's one standing in the middle. He's a pretty good youth minister, I've heard. Chad Lorraine. We'll give him a shout out. We appreciate Chad.
And Jim Beam.
And then Steven Seagal's brother with us today, Jim Beam.
Only reason Jim's here today is because he's waiting around. He's been counting down all offseason to this night when the Cowboys are going to unveil their championship caliber team. They're going to shock the nation, beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going to carve a new path to the Super Bowl. Totally underestimated, and it's going to happen, and Jim believes it full force. You don't have to worry about anybody. It doesn't matter what the commentators say. He's not listening to Stephen A. Jim is his own Stephen A.
Well, what's going to happen is, you heard it first here. You've heard several things on this show. The Cracker Barrel incident, that was first revealed by Jason Bay months before it became national news.
Yes.
I'm going to say it now, just throwing it out there. Houdini made all these predictions, and when you make a million predictions, you're going to get some of them
right.
Tony Romo coming out of retirement, going to lead the Cowboys, the oldest quarterback, leading the Cowboys to a Super Bowl.
They might need him.
Dak Prescott off the train, and Dak is going to join Amtrak as a conductor. Tony Romo's coming back. So there you go.
There you go.
Well, hey, here we go. It's your time.
Here we
right
go.
now.
All right.
Live from Studio 1229J in the heart of Huntsville. It's time for news you can use with Jason baby.
Yes, and let's remind people the reason we have this segment is so that you can have stuff to talk about around the dinner table at home, and just these little fun facts that you can say, did you know this? And then hopefully it generates some discussion among your family, because we understand that families don't communicate anymore, and we need for families to communicate. And so this is news you can use. You can use it to generate discussion. Now, Rob, have you heard about these new robo-bunnies?
No.
Okay. So there's an invasive species, actually two different types of invasive species that's taken over the Florida Everglades. And they've been trying to figure out how to combat this, and they've actually had competitions. It's called the Florida Python Challenge, because what they have realized is Burmese pythons have come to Florida, the Everglades, and are having a dramatic impact on the environment, because what had happened is that it says in the scientific review that around 2012, this study took place to look at these pythons that were coming to the Everglade National Park. And in the Everglade National Park, these Burmese pythons that had been released, that people had bought as pets, and over time they either escaped or they released them, they thrive in this environment. But they are an extremely invasive species that are destroying a lot of the natural habitat, and also some endangered species in the area of the Everglades National Park. So they did a challenge, and it was a way to try to figure out how to eliminate these pythons. And this comes out, one person or a group of people developed robot bunnies. And these robot bunnies, they look like little, actually, I have a picture here, but we can't put it up right now. They're actually look like little stuffed animal rabbits, and they act like bunnies. They hop around, and not only that, but they have the same heat signature of a rabbit. So in the hunting, these pythons would eat these bunnies that looked and acted like real bunnies, and then they couldn't digest those robot bunnies, and then it would kill the pythons. And so they released a bunch of these out in the Florida Everglades to try to eliminate some of these pythons. And this robot bunny won the grand prize of the Florida Python Challenge of $10,000. to try to eliminate some of these big pythons. What would you do, Rob, if you saw a big python? You like snakes?
No, I just turn around and run the other way. Just say, forget this.
Have devastated
I found a
native
news
wildlife
clip
in the
here.
Everglades.
Can we play this real quick? Regarding
Rabbits.
this is just to give them credit from Wink News. How cool is that? Is there a call sign of a TV station, WINK? Tonight, wink at you. It's the Wink News at 9.
I love it.
So here's from she's like, are we about to talk about robot bunnies? Look at this woman's face.
Ridiculous.
All right, here we go, Jason. You ready?
You preview this.
Here is the this is it. Here it is. The robot bunnies from Wink. Give them credit.
Florida scientists hope that these fluffy decoys can help with a very real problem.
Yeah, Burmese pythons have devastated native wildlife in the Everglades. Now, as Wink News reporter Bridget Bruchowski explains, tech hoping robotic rabbits can lure the snakes out.
When it comes to catching Burmese pythons, it takes more than just a sharp eye. They're sneaky, slippery, and hard to spot. But now wildlife teams have a new snake hunting tool in their arsenal: robot bunnies.
Yes.
The South Florida Water Management District and the University of Florida have teamed up to create what looks like a toy rabbit. These solar-powered robo-bunnies move, emit heat, and soon they'll even smell like a real rabbit. All to fool Burmese pythons into thinking dinner's been served. If the snakes come to them, it could save teams hours of searching in swampy, alligator-infested terrain.
If that python is detected, then it contacts someone like myself who's available 24 hours a day, and then I can deploy one of our many contractors to go remove it.
Pythons have been a disaster for native wildlife. Lead invasive animal biologist for South Florida Water Management District, Mike Kirkland, says
You
they've
get the
wiped
gist
out
of
up
it.
to
So there you go.
95% of
Robot
mammals in
bunnies
parts of the Everglades.
making their way. So.
Yeah, robot bunnies taking care of the big Burmese python snake problem in the Everglades. So we want to thank those that helped develop that to try to eliminate some of these environmental issues they're having. Another thing that they're having a problem with over in the Florida Everglades that wasn't mentioned in the article, but I was reading about is the iguanas. You know, iguanas were a big pet not too many years ago. Everybody was getting iguanas out there, and they too have been released in that area. And there's a lot of iguanas that are have been released, and they're proliferating in that area as well. In fact, my sister, my mother went down there earlier in the summer. They took a little road trip down to Florida, and they ended up going all the way to Key West. But even around there, there's a lot of iguanas that you can just see all over the place. But they are also causing a great bit of harm to the environment and also many of the endangered species because they thrive in that environment.
Did you have an iguana growing up? Or?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a snake either. But do you like snakes? You know, Mr. G here at our church, he's a great man that he's a science teacher here and works with the Boy Scouts, but also works with our church. Is a great man. But he's got snakes, and he brings them to my mom's class or to different classrooms and teaches children about snakes and teaches them not to be fearful of snakes. But I don't know, it takes a lot more than that to keep me from not being fearful of a snake.
My cousin had one. You have to go to the pet store and buy mice for it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was poor little things.
You know, I don't know why, but in my when you ever have nightmares or dreams that wake you up, there's always a reoccurring dream that I always have about a snake being in the bed with me. And I jump up and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, that's a rough, but anyway, so watch out for the snakes. All right, here's another article. You know the store, you have a little girl, right? Mm-hmm. And you know about the store Claire's?
Yes, we used to go. She's went there before.
Okay. So Claire's is experiencing a dramatic downturn in sales. And there's an article out that talks about, and they filed for bankruptcy protection. And Claire's has really flourished in the past, focusing on tween girls, especially. They have this, when you think of Claire's, what do you think of? What do you see?
I think of like 7-year-olds and bow ties and like Hannah Montana.
Yeah, and little bows they put in their hair, little fuzzy pencils, little impractical small purses, all that the stuff. The earrings, and little backpack stuffed animals that you put on your put a little on your backpacks and stuff. And my girls, every time we would go over to College Station, we'd go through the mall. They were always wanted to stop there at Claire's. In fact, a couple of my girls got their ears pierced there in Claire's. But they said this article speaks about why is Claire's experiencing such a dramatic downturn, especially in the last 20 years.
Amazon.
They've experienced a dramatic downturn. That's one of the reasons. To try to think of the reasons why you think that tween girls and in general, why Claire's is experiencing such a dramatic downturn. In the mention of this article, it mentions a lot of the cultural issues of our day and time. So you mentioned one, online shopping, and not only online shopping, but because the girls shop themselves online. Used to just the parents would shop online. But now the kids shop online on Amazon and things like that as well. In fact, my kids do that. I don't know. They get in your account. My kids don't buy things without permission, but they'll put things into the cart, without purchasing it.
Oh yeah.
So when I go online, I say, "Oh, they put this into the cart," and sometimes I'll buy it for them if they want it, or they'll come and ask me. But that's more and more prevalent today, where used to. Nobody, the adults were the ones that were shopping online. But now you have more and more kids, because of the cell phones, even tween girls, that are able to shop online. What's another reason you think?
I don't know. Just
where do you normally see Claire's at?
In malls,
Okay.
shopping malls. So the fact that the malls are starting to go
Yep,
down.
yep.
I've
So-
never seen one outside of a mall.
That's right. There's very, very few Claire's that are outside of malls. And because the malls are in drastic decline all across America, you see fewer and fewer malls. The malls that you do see have gone out of business. But nowadays, because there's not as many malls, there's not as many Claire's, and that's another reason. Another reason that you probably wouldn't get was because young people, this is what this article says, I thought it was pretty interesting. Young people are learning what's cool on the context-collapsed, algorithmically driven social web, much of the time from professional influencers who are older than them. Tweens still exist as a market category and a chronological distinction, but in practice, they act a lot like teens or even 20-somethings, which I thought that was really sad because of the way that influencers, social media has an impact on the younger generation. What we're seeing is that their preferences go away from what tween girls, young 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old girls used to like, to now they're liking what 20-year-olds like and what older teens like, because that's what they see as cool because of what they watch on the internet. This really shows a cultural shift in our environment, because we see that younger kids really in a lot of places, not just in Claire's, but in a lot of places, are having their childhood taken away from them in a lot of respects, because they're so heavily influenced by what they see on the internet, on social media, on professional influencers that are really programming into them what is cool.
Mm-hmm. It's weird, because what is the word trend, right? It's what's trending, and that's what people do. And I think of fashion. That's the biggest one, right? We come in and out of fashion, and for a while, I don't know if it's still a thing with the young guys wearing the mullets. You remember that came back?
Yeah.
Then the short shorts for guys wearing short. They call them chubbies, is what they call them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's at the school. Our school even had to pass a new rule about that. You never had to worry about guys wearing shorts, but whenever you can see their underwear coming out of the bottom of their shorts, then you got a problem.
They had to we used to have the fingertip rule in school, and now they've had to do it to guys.
To guys, no kidding. I know, but it just shows you how much our our culture has been just saturated with social media. But anyway, there's 2 stories I'll just share with you today. I know we're out of time. We got things we got to do, but it just shows you the drastically changing environment that we live in, how quickly our culture is changing, and how much our children are influenced by what they see on a screen. And Claire's is the latest casualty of that.
Well, and and the AI technology doesn't help either, because now you can bring anything to life. And earlier you said that you had this big worry.
Yeah, that's me. I'm gonna wake up thinking of that. Thanks, Rob.
Look at that guy right there.
Thanks, Rob.
Hanging out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I dream about. Most of the time, they're attached to my hand.
What? Look at this. So you have 1, 2, 3. Okay, you got all your fingers. Okay, good. So there you go.
Thank you.
I'll send
Thank
that
you.
to you.
Appreciate that, Rob. Rob's always working behind the scenes to try to make me look like a fool. I appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. So everybody tune in tonight. This is the beginning of NFL football season, and know that hopefully Rob will be with me, and we'll be watching the game, chilling with his kids, and Jim Beam over there rooting the Cowboys on to a victory.
And the person Jim Beam, by the
yeah.
It's almost like your sermon. You said something this weekend, and if you just clip that part.
Yeah. And you probably did.
No, I didn't. Don't worry. But one of our youth did. I said, no, we're not going to show that on the show. So it was good fun. Well, hey, I know we have a lot of fun, but want to switch gears on a quick serious note. This weekend, continuing the new Nehemiah Project series. Really excited about that. And then a really cool opportunity for folks if they want to come and, come as a guest and learn about the church. Come to our Discover First class.
Yes.
That's going to be right after service at noon.
Free lunch.
So maybe if you've been thinking about, I've been wanting to come visit First. Well, this is a great weekend to do it, because you can come to the service and then come learn more about the church at Discover First. That's a special class we have about once a quarter. Mm-hmm. And then for those that have been at the church and really want to get involved, we call it our dream team, our new service teams here at First. We try to move away from using the word volunteer, because we really believe, as getting involved, you're a servant. The Lord calls us to serve, and we've got 9 different areas that branch out into almost infinity, if you'll think about it that way, of areas that you can serve. We'll kick off our first Sunday night. That's going to take place at 6 o'clock, and folks can come. It's going to be a prayer meeting. We're a church of prayer, and we want people to come and pray and then learn more about the ministry teams. A lot going on.
Absolutely, and I just want to say, church, we think about church a lot of times, and we define church in certain ways, and a lot of times that the word church is come and sit. But what we understand is a church is not a place. A church is who we are. And what we're called to do is go. And what we want our people to do, and what we're challenging our people to do, is, hey, we want to be engaged in the community. We want to be involved in different areas of the community. We want to help when we're needed. We want to be that resource that, hey, if First Baptist Church went away, everybody would miss us because of what the lending of help that we provide, the service that we provide. And so this is a way that we can emphasize to our people and to everyone that on first Sundays of the month, we're going to set aside a time of prayer and then a time of putting those prayer into action as we figure out and decide and plan for new ways to serve our community. And that's what Nehemiah did, by the way. That's why this corresponds with the Nehemiah Project, because what Nehemiah did was he had a burden, he prayed about it, he planned it, he looked out at what was going on, he got other people involved, and then they went and did the work. And a lot of churches, a lot of people, they get to the place where they will pray, they will even plan. But when it comes to the fact of going and doing, we need help in that area. We need help in that area to say, hey, the church is about going and doing, and that's what we want to be about.
And there's something special about that, not for our own good, but for the kingdom.
Yes.
there is something special. We want folks to get excited, folks that go to church here, that want to come to the first Sunday and then consider looking into ministry teams that they can be a part of. That's something to be excited about, Jason.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's what I've been praying for, that atmosphere on Sunday, of course, to be an atmosphere of prayer. But then after we close the prayer, we move into learning more about our ministry teams. That's something I want people to get pumped up about, coming and praying and knowing that the Lord is going to move in a mighty way, because he does. And then see what can happen. And not just focused on this church or these walls or even this little area of town, but serving the community and even thinking about global impact, because you never realize the things that you do on a small scale in the kingdom are huge, and it has a global impact, and most importantly, an eternal impact.
Yes. We want to be so connected with this community, like I said, that when people think of Huntsville, they think about First Baptist Church Huntsville, and you can be a part. Help us serve our community. Awesome. Barham Square is coming up too, and we want to be a great big service opportunity there, October the 4th, I think it is.
And how cool is it? Jason Bay will spend part of the day as a CDL driver.
Yes, I will.
Pretty cool, man.
The bus.
Do you ever rev up the gas on that bad boy?
Yeah, I do.
Blow the black smoke out of it
everywhere.
Well, Jason, thank you, brother. We appreciate you and appreciate all of you. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Many people joining us this morning and commenting in, and we can't wait to reconnect with you. We'll be here tomorrow morning. Billy Cawthon, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, will wrap up the week with us. We're looking forward to having Billy on tomorrow as we continue celebrating and promoting the good that is happening here in our community. For Jason Bay, and a big thank you to Joshua Mashi behind the scenes, helping us as he always does on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm Rob Hipp, reminding you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We're really not. We do need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. I promise and assure you that somebody out there today needs you. Until tomorrow morning at 7:30, good morning and God bless. We'll see you back on the other side. Jason, see you, my friend.
All right, God bless.